Today's a real unique day. I get to pull away with my lifelong buddy, Scotty McTiernan, and go have a little time for ourselves. It's intense when you're working with a large group of men. It's just intense. There's a lot of individual things going on. People are bonding, things are going on at home. So there's a whole lot you have to deal with. And man, every now and then, it's just great to just pull away, just get with one special guy and just kind of relieve some of that stress. Now for guys like McTiernan and I, stress relief is getting in something crazy like this little four-wheeler and going real fast up a canyon. I wanted to show Scotty the place where this really started. It was this little cabin, this miner's cabin way up in the mountains, because it brought back memories of my initial discussion with him about bringing together men and fathers and sons. I said, man, let me just show my buddy where this adventure started. Man!
Wow, Brian, this is the cabin, huh?
This is it, buddy.
Wow, this is cool. I like this.
Come on, check it out.
Look, you got the old corners painted.
Peek in here. Look at this. Wow. That's crazy.
That is some cool place.
Is that a snake?
Can you
right
imagine? There? No, it's just a stick. It's
Oh,
just a stick. Just a stick.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I can't hardly see
Bunk
it.
beds, yep.
Yeah.
Be a real starter home, huh?
They start her on fire.
Yeah, I wonder what the date is on these guys.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Pretty
Hey,
cool
check this
stuff.
out.
What's that?
Look at this. There's a well over here.
What?
Check this out, man.
Wow, I had a well up here. Wow.
This bad boy by hand. It's nuts. Buddy boy, can you imagine somebody with the fortitude to dig down in there and just start pulling that stuff out of there?
I can't. I guess if you're thirsty enough, you might get you into it.
You better count on your buddy.
Then they had concrete and they layered that whole thing right
Yeah.
there. I wonder if there's got to be still water in there, right?
Yeah, but I ain't going down there.
You're not?
Nope. So this cabin is crazy. I mean, this is where guys came up with a vision to go way up this canyon, way up this mountain, and out of just hand-hewn logs, put this little cabin together, dig this crazy well. I mean, I can't imagine somebody being willing to go down in the dirt and then shore it up with big rocks all the way around so that they'd have water. And this is where these guys made their living. I mean, it's just an amazing place to show the character and the strength that men can have. Well, what's cool is we got a day off. We got a day off, man. Pleasure's got them. They're off doing some other things, and I figured, given our background of tearing around mountains together, I wanted to show you this place. This is where it started. We were scouting the locations and stuff, and we came up here, and I saw this. This is it. This is it. Montana Man Camp was born right here, buddy.
I can see why. Coming up here and smelling these pines and that sagebrush coming up here, it's just like, ooh, my memories are stirring. Some of the memories we've had together. Well, we really have had some adventures.
Yeah, we have some. No.
I don't want to go there.
I don't want to tell my wife just some of the. We took a few risks.
Yeah, we took some good risks.
Because,
but that's, that adventure kind of part is what really, bonds friends. I believe.
It does.
Yeah, it was fun.
It
was
does.
fun.
You got to get out and feel something. I mean, we spend too much time observing somebody else's life, and I mean, I'm guilty at times of, Sports Center becomes kind of the throne at which I worship, and it's, the remote control. But man, when we get out, you feel different. It kind of moves a man to a different level. I like that.
Well, I think it also brings a different level of friendship. I mean, when you share experiences that are a little rough on the edges and pushes you to those different limits, and you get to see the inner man, you get to really interact with that and have-tos and, the whole thing, find out how bossy one is or how bossy the other one is. Or, just
more bossy the one guy, but...
My name is Scott McTiernan. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. Presently, the last 7 years, my home is Colorado, Southwest Colorado. Brian Moltar is absolutely a great friend. He has been for over 15 years now. Well, we met, I actually knew that he was a hunter and he loved the outdoors. And I called him after a mission trip that I'd been on to discuss maybe going hunting, or perhaps that he'd come hunting with me, because I had an outfitter business, which means that I took out hunters. I had horses and I had a whole operation that did that. And I thought perhaps he'd be a client and come and hunt with me. Well, ends up after my first initial phone call, we play a little phone tag and I get hold of him. And I just end up weeping after 2 hours of talking with him and all that he had to offer in this Malachi 4.6. So really we became partners and started doing adventure father-son retreats out of the ranch in Southwest Colorado that I had. And we really attacked this from another level. It didn't sustain, but we did that for a period of time for a couple of years and have been back and forth in several other different events. And now here at Montana Man Camp.
Dude, I put my life in your hands. How many times?
You did.
Man?
You did.
We went up to, what is it, Corbett?
Corbett Creek, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, bud, that was. I mean, that's on the edge. I mean, I'm not going to put it in a class with extreme skiing, but we were on a hillside, 12,000 feet. Yeah. That little storm came in. You remember that one?
I do.
We had those 2 young buck wranglers with us.
Yeah, we're trying to teach them something. Like, don't be afraid. Everything's going to be okay.
Exactly. And I'm screaming, "Get to the trees! Get to the trees!"
That did not engender confidence in any of us.
No. And then we're standing there with all those horses. We got off the horses because this storm was electric. I mean, it was cloud to cloud and ground to cloud and everything else. And then that one crack.
Yeah. That was scary.
What was your horse? Was it Gus?
I was on Gus.
He's a great horse.
Big old.
Stout.
Well, he was great, but he was head shy, and I just remember I'm thinking about the young guy. So I got to get Gus tied up. I'm going to get the young guy. We'll be okay. So I'm thinking one step too far, and so I grabbed his lead rope and I whipped it around the tree, to get the knot put in there.
Yep.
Well, when that came snapping around, the lightning crashes and he sees this thing coming right at his face, and so old Gus, he's ready to take off backwards.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm ready to slip off the side of the mountain here. Gus is bucking. The young guy's over there going, "What do I do? What do I do?" Man.
Yeah, it was a little scary. You know how you take and like you can count how many times, go 1001, 1002 for the lightning before you hear the thunder.
Yeah.
I mean, remember that? It was just like a flash.
Yeah.
Okay, and boom, boom, it was right there. I mean, that thing went off from here to that tree. I mean, it was like that was pretty intense.
When you can smell the ground like burning, that it's too close, dude. It's too close. But we didn't have. What were you gonna do? You can't change the channel at 12,000 feet,
no,
man.
You can't run in the basement.
No.
Like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
You just
Shelter
get
in place.
downhill. That's right.
Yeah.
You know what's cool about that trip, too?
What's that?
Is those young men that we had on that trip. Do you think, the impact we're talking about right here?
Yeah.
Do you think maybe they're still thinking about that trip?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good experience.
Video games and all that stuff, that's a fine little distraction once in a while, but you get a young guy, you get a next generation kid out there on something like that, an adventure, a real adventure, where there's a little bit of risk, and it wasn't foolish, it was calculated, but you're in the Rockies, man. I mean, you're no longer in charge. And I think that gives a young guy perspective about the goodness of God, the bigness of God, and just that life is really precious, man.
That's right.
Really precious.
It really does give you kind of a mortal feeling. It's just like, we can die real quick here.
Yeah.
Not that ever was the intent, but it does.
Scott and I have shared some really cool times together, man. We've been we went on horseback up to 12,000 feet and got caught in these crazy storms and all this stuff. But we end up around a campfire or just sitting around talking. And I don't have to say a lot. Here's what I like to say. Hey, Scotty, tell me a story. And man, world just explodes. So dude, 30 years of outfitting all this stuff, and you take people up. Tell me something crazy.
We used to do these pack trips, and they're progressive pack trips.
Yeah.
And they're back in the Wiminich Wilderness, which is between Durango and Silverton. Back up, I mean, it's high. It's way back there. And we'd take clients, probably 8 or 9. There'd be 2 or 3 of us that were workers, and we would head into this wilderness area, and we'd fish the high mountain lakes a lot like we did up there at Grayling Lake and stuff. And we camp at those, and then we'd pick up our camp and go to another lake. It's a great experience. Well, the wreck happened in this one particular spot that was, I could see it coming. I mean, I'd been over it maybe 20 times, okay, back and forth. And I came to this spot, and my inner man just said, this is not right. So I did. I went up and I untied all the horses away from each other so that in case we had a slip, it didn't pull down the whole pack string. It would only pull down one. And I had this one horse, his name was Bull, a big strawberry roan. I mean, his butt was that wide, a powerful horse. He was a great horse. I loved him. Bull, strong like Bull. And he had a lot of weight on him. So I decided to take him myself. So I'm taking him because, you know, with that big old strength like that, they're not always as agile as the littler horses.
Okay.
So I'm taking him, we're going across it. It rained about 2 or 3 hours later. And sure enough, his back foot slips off. And it just falls off the cliff just a little bit. And he's got this one foot there. And I glance back over my shoulder and I go, oh, man. So I try to support him a little bit with his putt, pulling his head. But by doing that, he doesn't have that leverage with his neck and his head to be able to pull himself back up off that bad spot.
Yeah.
So he just starts sliding on this one foot, and it's just going down the hill. And his other foot slides off the trail, and both feet are sliding off the hill. And I'm holding, okay, this horse was big. He's probably 1,150 pounds.
Ooh.
Okay? And I'm holding his head like this, and I know I have to let go or go with him. I mean, you don't just,
We'll pull him up.
no, I ain't gonna pull him.
All right.
So I let go of this guy, and I'm just like, and now, get this. I got 8 guests right behind me watching this, right? And this horse just goes, and he goes end over end to start with. And as he goes end over end, you know, his feet kind of tuck up, and then he just does this, like a little caterpillar almost, like with all the pack gear and stuff's getting flung all over this hillside. And then he goes over, and at the bottom of this is water. There's a creek down there.
Yeah.
And at the very bottom of this, there's about, 8 foot that's just sheer, like this. And he goes right over it, and he just free falls. And I hear him land, and when he lands, you sure? You want to hear all this?
It's okay, as long as I'm not with him.
All right, at least you weren't with him.
All right.
And free falls, and he lands on a pine tree that had fallen.
Oh, man.
And all the branches are out like this. And it was an old one, so it was just the stubs. There wasn't any of this soft stuff like you see in these pines here.
Yeah.
It was just the stubs like this, and one of them went right up into his gut like this, and almost poked out the back. Now this end's good, okay? So we'll preface that.
Okay.
Well, I'm like, what do I do? And in those situations, you really have to think hard because your instinct is to run down there. But I have to think about the whole crowd because it's my deal. Right. So I had to get a wrangler and say, take these 8 people and go back over there where it's flat, tie them up and keep them out of my way. I'm gonna go check it out. Well, I couldn't even get to this animal. I had to go down off the hill. I had to get around that cliff, and I come up and he's standing in the stream there, and the pack's completely under him. He's got this branch in him still on the tree. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And you're like scrambling. Get down there, and obviously he's not whipping around. He's just standing there, lethargic, stunned, everything else. So I said, okay, gotta do it. So I cut the pack off. Okay, you know, just you don't undo it. You just cut it off, and I get it drug over there, and he's still on this. Then I had a little handsaw in it, and I cut off that branch. And this is the sad part: is he didn't want to move. I mean, duh. Obviously, he didn't want to move. So I had to get him to move, and I had to slap him on the butt. He'd come up off that log, and he's standing there in that water like that, and he's got that. And I go, man, he can't walk out with that thing. What am I? And I'm thinking, do I just put him down right here? What do I do? So I take this thing, and I think, okay. And I look around, I think I'm gonna have to take this stump out of there.
Right.
but he could bleed to death. I don't know what's going to come out. So there was a blanket. It was one of those liners to a sleeping bag, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Not the sleeping bag, but the liner part.
Yeah.
Just kind of a lightweight flannel kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I took that and I pulled that thing out like that. And it was about that long. It was poking out up above.
My
and it
goodness.
came in the bottom. Talk about a tummy ache. And I pull this thing out and it's a mess, you know, obviously. And he just starts bleeding. So I take that towel and I just have to shove it right back up in that gut. Okay.
So you pulled it out.
Pulled it out. And then I had to just shove it back up into that gut.
Did you wet it? Was it
No.
wet?
Well, yeah, we're standing in water. So
Okay,
I mean,
so
the
you
whole
got
thing.
wet.
So pulled it back up in there. I says, we got to get out of here. Well, let's go.
Yeah.
So I left all the stuff that was there. And I started pulling him, and he wouldn't move. And I had to whip him to get him up, and we got him up out of that thing and back onto that trail. I sent all the rest of the guests on ahead, and I walked him out like that, man. I'll talk about thirsty by the time I got home.
I'll bet you were.
And I got home, and we put him in a trailer. We took him to the vet, and he lives today.
Is that right?
That's right. So Bull was one tough cookie.
Man, oh man.
That's a true story.
All right. What did the guests, what was their reaction, man?
Oh, they're just like you. That's all they could think of after a week of beautiful weather and catching huge trout and everything else. That's all they talked about was that.
Was what you did wrong?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm
I
really
didn't do
sorry.
wrong. I saved the horse. Give me a break.
For me, I work with lots and lots of people, both in the corporate world and youth training and lots of ministry contexts. And it's interesting because I know thousands of people around the world, but I don't have many close friends. Guys, I can just be myself with. If I have a bad day, they're not going to judge me. Their faith won't get rocked. And a guy like Scotty Mack, just to be able to be real around him, go fishing with him, share an adventure with him, or just sit around and talk with him, that fulfills something so profound in my life. It's really difficult to explain. But my prayer is that every man has at least one friend, a guy like Scotty Mack. This ministry is a total team effort, and you can be part of that team. Perhaps you've got a location, a ranch or a retreat center with lots of outdoor activities where we could shoot our next series. Perhaps you could be a sponsor for one episode of the entire series, or you could even be on the show. If you want to help us to produce high-quality Christian television, build strong families and great dads, please go to our website. Thank you. Friendship's a lost art, man. It's a lost art. I think as men, we become like those big old bull elephants. We pull away from the herd and we act like we don't need anybody. That's as unbiblical as it gets. We're created to be in fellowship and relationship with one another. Now that doesn't work with everybody, but I believe God's got special people that He will connect you with throughout life to become friends.
I've been talking about that locker room atmosphere, you know, that team, that camaraderie, and that's what I'm going to miss, you know. What I've noticed at 40 years of age now, I noticed that when I look back over the fun or memorable moments of my life, it's not so much the things that we did, it's the people. It's not the awards or, you know, it's the people. So, man, relationship. I mean, being able to get together with a group of guys and just be gut level transparent, you know, to build an atmosphere where men can just be themselves. That's what we did here. We built an atmosphere where men could be themselves, and I'm gonna miss that. You know, my heart's desire is that that I go home and continue to build on that. You know, a place or a man can just be a man.
Created some real good friendships outside of this room and outside of us four, and I'm gonna miss a lot of cool things. Yeah, you know I love you, little bro. I'm gonna miss your voice, man. I'm gonna miss the American Idol. No, brother, no. You may be someday an American Idol, but you are a true brother. That's what you are. You know, you don't need idol status to find out that you are an amazing singer, an amazing individual.
That's right.
And the depth that's within you that hasn't even come out yet, man, is I'm excited to be with you and excited to be friends with you when that happens. When you figure that out too, brother. You know, this is a step. You becoming a man this time, but man, you are. You don't need a status. We love you. I love you, and I know I've said this 100 times, brother. I love you for who you are, not what you do. I love what you do. Yes, I do, but I love you for who you are. You're my little brother for life, brother.
Jody.
Jody Bass.
Baby JoJo. How can I start this off, my friend? If it wasn't for Jody, I probably wouldn't have been as comfortable as I was this week.
Yeah.
I mean, you came through like crazy. I was like, this dude, I don't know if I want to shake his hand, slap him, or pray for him. I couldn't even think about it, you know what I'm saying? But I'm tell you something. If you hadn't been who you are, and I know this is you, sometimes I do think you need a little bit of Ritalin, just a little bit. But if you hadn't been who you are, you would have never broke the hard shell of many guys' hearts here.
That's true.
Because you were such a person who just can mix with any crowd. One of your great gifts is that you can relate to anybody.
Yeah.
And that makes you the neutral guy.
That's true.
You break down the walls of heart because you might be funny. It's not just funny, but you can sit up and have a conversation with a guy like Brent Rose, who has so much word in this man, and not feel inferior towards that. You know how to accept him for who he. No, hold on, wait a minute. She's trying to go there, but she can't go there because I'm not done yet, okay? But honestly, though, my brother's been in prison, in and out of prison since he was 16. So I don't know if you know what that done to my life. But my brother made some decisions when we were kids that it did take my innocence. And it wasn't necessarily him doing it, but him allowing someone else to. So when you say that I'm your little brother, it makes me feel so special. Because I've never had a big brother. I never had a father. I never had a big brother. I never had a grandfather who actually did things conducive to a young man growing up. No one biological. But thank God, because you are my big brother and I accept that.
Amen.
And I love you. And I know what you mean. I don't like how you say it when you say, we love you for who you are, not what you do. I don't like that. But I'm just saying, no, but on real, I love you, man.
Yeah.
And I wish nothing for the best for you.
Let me be really clear. True friendship is not adding somebody on Facebook and then building your list of how many friends you have. That's nonsense. True friendship is when you spend time together, you laugh together, you cry together, you experience life together. Man, at camp, I watched friendships develop just like this. One of the most fun ones was Charles and Jody. Man, you talk about the odd couple, man. Come on. Here's this big black guy and this little white guy, and so different, and yet God just bonded them together, and I know they will be friends for life.
You guys are just, I've had a blast, you know, with Charles. You've just been, I met you, man, and you're bigger than life. You know, you're just, you know, and just life comes out of you. And I know that the enemy has tried every way to take life from you, but you just keep giving. You just keep giving that. And what I like about Charles is when you see Charles, that's what Charles is. That's what you get. You get Charles, and you get all of him. And I'm glad for that, man. And it's just been an awesome experience. And with Brian, man, it's like, without being arrogant, you demand leadership. It's just what you are. You just have that in you, and it begins to come out. And it's like, at any moment, if there was something was going wrong, I knew there was two men I was going to look to: Brian Molitor or Brian Pruitt. Those are the ones I'm going to check and see what they're doing. If they're running, I'm running. If they're standing still, I'm going to stand there with them. You know what I mean? That's just that thing. You've got that leadership, man, that warrior spirit in you, that you are crying out and you are fighting for that generation, the voiceless generation, and that means a lot to me, man. That means a lot to know that there's people out there that are fighting for that generation. You know, I'm just gonna miss that camaraderie with you, and just your laughter, your joy, just how you can be a leader, but at the same time you can just be one of the boys too. You know, I like that. So Jody Bass, my man. I told my wife, I said, you gotta meet Jody Bass. She's like, Jody Bass. She's like, that's a cool name. She's like, that's a name you just don't forget. I was like, I said, you gotta meet the man though behind the name, and then also to see you this week just begin to go from somebody who didn't really know what was doing here. Well, I know something's gonna be good. But then for you to say, I got to work down home. I got kids in my community that I can touch, and like that idea of you getting a plan together. That's cool to see that happen, and you begin to form into that and say, okay, you know, I can do this, and I got stuff in me. Because I'm telling you, you have got an ability, like he said, to connect with anybody in this place. I mean, everybody. Yeah. When you come around, there's just a smile on everybody's face, and I thank all three of you guys for just coming and just allowing me to be who I am. You know, I don't always get to be who I am around a lot of people, but it's just been fun to be Brent again this week, and just to enjoy and just to because you guys, all the stuff you're talking about, you guys pull it out of me, man. I mean, you guys, it's just you're pulling it out of me, and it's great. It has been an experience of a lifetime to get to know everyone of y'all.
Can we just make a request?
What?
I'm going to talk to the guys, and we're going to give you all our email lists and all our home addresses. Why don't you just make like a monthly CD where you just send one of your sermons to all of us? Yes, just send a sermon to us monthly.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, Brian, I don't really want to come off mushy or, you know, like too sensitive or boisterous, but I want to recognize you. I want to confirm you as a dear friend, not just a friend. And I don't want cliche in this. I want you to understand that you've been steadfast in our relationship between the two of us. And I know, just in retrospect and looking behind, that I've fallen short in keeping up with our relationship like I wanted, the level that I wanted. And I'm sorry for that, but you are. You are definitely steadfast and have maintained a relationship that has kept me going in so many ways. In so many ways. And I thank you. I really do. I thank you for that. And it is a witness to many others too. Younger generation, older generations. My son-in-laws, when we talk on the phone and stuff, they'll just look and they go, who is he talking to? And it's like they know. Without any explanation of our relationships, they know what a dear friend you are. Thank you for the years and years.
You're welcome, buddy.
Dedication to me.
Many more to come.
Hey.
Many more to come.
I'm into that. I'm into that.
That's right.
Let's go get them.
Let's go get them.
All right, come on.
Feels like rivers have flooded from my eyes as I'm changed into a better man. I look up to the stars and know it's time to head back east all the way